Good afternoon and welcome back to Joliet, Illinois on the Harlow-Lockwood Fields here at the Inwood Sports Complex, where St. Francis just took game one of a doubleheader from St. Xavier by a final score of 8-5. They'll try to make it two in a row here with game two beginning right now. Hannah Vachon doing the pitching, and her first toss of the game is swung on by Lexi Lux and flown out to left field, foul territory, and it drops in for a foul ball. Nice effort by Rachel Luckett, couldn't quite make the play. It's strike one on Lux. Oh, and 1 the count on Lux, who had a very strong first game at the plate. She went 3 for 4, 3 singles, 3 of her team's 5 runs scored. She'll be followed by Lyda Robinson and Amanda Ruskowski here in the first inning. We'll go through the rest of the starters in just a moment. Vachon's next pitch misses up high. Ball 1, the count is even. Lux, the second baseman for St. Xavier today. Robinson batting second in center field. Amanda Ruskowski is the designated player. Hitting cleanup is first baseman Taylor Sturkowitz. There's a swing on a foul back, 1-2. Brittany Schultz moves up to the 5 spot in the lineup. She's doing the catching. Batting 6th, right fielder Tori Williams. Tori Kielman hits 7th at shortstop. Nicole O'Donnell is at third base, and batting 9th, left fielder Frankie DeMack. 1-2 pitch, misses for ball 2. Hannah Vachon doing the pitching for the Fighting Saints here in game 2. Vachon pitched the final 3 innings of game 1. Wasn't too sharp to end that one, but she's trying to turn it around here where it really counts in game 2. Ground ball to the shortstop. Gallison smothers it, throws to first, and gets it there in just enough time. Good play by Gallison. Good pick by Kayla Garcia. 1 up, 1 down in the top of the first inning. 6-3 put out to get us started here. And that brings up Lyda Robinson. Robinson, the center fielder for St. Xavier, went 2 for 4 with a pair of singles in game number 1. She takes the first one high, and it soars to the backstop for ball 1. 1-0 is the count. Vachon's next pitch popped up behind home plate and out of play. And it'll go as a strike. Vachon in game 1 pitched the final 3 innings. She gave up 4 runs on 7 hits after pitching a 1-2-3 5th inning. She really struggled in the 6th and 7th, but St. Francis had already built a big lead by that point. Strike called on Robinson. It's 1-2. And so they were able to hold off the Cougar attack. Fouled off to the left side, still 1-2. When Vachon entered that game, it was a tight one. It was a 3-1 score, and she pitched a 1-2-3 inning, looked really good doing it. It was a big moment for St. Francis. They were able to hold on to a narrow advantage and extend it thanks to the good work of Vachon and her predecessor in the game, Madison Tucker. Robinson's foul ball keeps the count at 1-2. And that's when, in the bottom of the 5th inning, they really started to pile on. They scored 5 runs in that inning. Fouled away again, still 1-2. And after St. Francis had extended the lead from 2 runs to 7 runs, that's when Vachon started having some troubles. Now it's a tight ball game again. A little bit of pressure back on her to throw well. We'll see how she responds to that. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes on Lyda Robinson, who takes a ball. The count is even. She's seen 7 pitches already in this at-bat. 2-2, 1 out, nobody on base. Next pitch, ground ball, fair territory, gloved by Gallison. Quick throw to first, and it gets away from Garcia. Robinson turns on the Jets and heads to second base. So there's the game's first base runner. Comes with 1 out in the top of the first inning. And that's what speed does for you. With most runners going down that line, that's about as routine as it gets for Gallison. She had to rush herself because of Robinson's running. And when she did, the throw was low. Robinson gets not one, but 2 bases out of it. And now first pitch swinging, Ruskowski grounds it to third. Callahan across the diamond for the out, and heading to third base safely is Lyda Robinson. So there's her speed in action again. She's able to advance to third base, but most importantly, Ruskowski is retired, and that's never a small feat. Ruskowski came into play today hitting .519 on the season, went 2 for 4 in game 1. And so that's a huge second out, even if Robinson does advance 60 feet on the play. Here's Taylor Sturkowitz. Sturkowitz was productive at the plate in game 1. She takes the first pitch for ball 1. She had a pair of hits and an RBI. She's got a chance at an RBI here. St. Xavier did not lead in game 1. They can take the lead right from the jump here. Fouled back, it's 1-1. Robinson reached with 1 out on a wild throw from Gallison over to first base. She was able to move all the way up to second, to third on a routine ground out to third base. Good base running from Robinson. Sturkowitz flies it to the left side of the infield. Backing up, Gallison makes the catch, and the inning is over. So despite the runner at third base, St. Xavier does not score. They leave her at third. We head to the bottom of the first inning, no score. No score after half an inning of play. St. Francis coming up now. Lindsay Andrews set to lead things off. She's the second baseman. Paige Egan bats second in right field. Hitting third, left fielder Rachel Luckett. Kayla Garcia hits cleanup at first base. Batting fifth, shortstop Ashley Gallison. Madison Tucker is the designated player. Danielle Callahan hits seventh at third base. Jensen Crenshaw does the catching. And batting ninth, center fielder Haley Length. That lineup will have their hands full today against the junior right-hander Allison Golick, whose first pitch misses downstairs on Lindsay Andrews. Andrews in game one hit a home run, drew a bases-loaded walk, 2 RBIs in the ballgame for her. The 1-0 swung on and missed. It's 1-1. Allison Golick is starting for the 13th time this year. It's her 14th appearance overall. She's 10-1 with a 1.30 ERA. 10 complete games, 5 shutouts. She's ahead of Andrews 1-2. Golick has thrown 75 and 2/3 innings. She's allowed just 17 runs, 14 of them earned on 56 hits. A whopping 101 strikeouts to only 10 walks. Ball high, 2-2. That pitch notwithstanding, Golick does not miss her spot too often. So this is a game that St. Francis is going to have to hit their way on. Only 10 walks and 13 appearances on the season. There's a swing and a miss for strike 3. And Andrews goes down to get us started in the bottom of the first inning. St. Francis typically doesn't have a problem with a challenge like that they're going to have to hit their way on base. They hit them plenty. 369 team batting average entering today's doubleheader, and that only goes up after game one. They had 12 hits in their 6 innings of offense in that one. Paige Egan bunts it behind home plate and foul for strike one. Egan, a .488 hitter, but she has struggled during the home games so far this year. Went just 1 for 4 with a bunt single in game one. Here's the 0-1 pitch. She pops it foul and out of play to the left. Count is 0-2. We've seen now every pitcher that St. Xavier has to offer during today's doubleheader. Game one, they threw out Amanda Ruskowski, Annalise Scott, and Madeline Matola, all 3 of them. They only have 4 pitchers on the roster. Ball 1 on Egan. It's 1-2. 1 out, nobody on. Scoreless tie in the bottom of the first inning. Golick is their ace. She's the one who started half the team games on the season. Ball up and in, 2-2. Aaron Mollahan decided to hold her off for game 2. Didn't want to use her in the opener. That's why we ended up seeing everybody else in that game. There's ball 2 on Egan. Excuse me, ball 3 on Egan. Count is full. 3 straight misses from Golick after she had gotten ahead of the St. Francis right fielder, 0-2. She takes a little walk around the circle before she's ready to continue. Now on top of the rubber, the 3-2 pitch. Smack to the left side and through for a base hit. Out of the reach of the shortstop, Tori Kielman. Paige Egan is aboard with a 1-out single here in the bottom of the first inning. And the batter is Rachel Luckett. First hit of the ball game for either side. It's a first inning single for Paige Egan, and we'll see if the Saints can turn this into an early run. They scored in 4 out of 6 innings in game one. Rachel Luckett takes the first pitch high for ball 1. Of the 8 runs scored, Luckett was not terribly involved. She did reach base once in the game. That was in the first inning on a walk. She flew one out to deep center field in her final at bat. Couldn't get it to drop though. She takes a strike here. That is 1-1 on Luckett. Paige Egan over at first base can run. Nobody on St. Francis does run all that often, but she's the one who's most likely to. 4 stolen bases on the year. Ball outside, 2-1. Here comes Golick's next pitch. Swung on and flown out to shallow left field. Coming on hard and making a sliding catch is Frankie DeMack. Paige Egan hustles back to first base, 2 down. Nice play by DeMack in shallow left. Nearly dropped in for a base hit. That would have put some early pressure on Allison Golick. Instead, she'll just have to deal with the pressure from having to face Kayla Garcia. Garcia is the Fighting Saints cleanup batter, batting for the first time in this game. 279 hitters, 7 homers, 28 RBIs for the year. Had a double and a walk in game 1. Went 1 for 3. She takes a strike. No score early on. The Saints never trailed in game 1 after taking an early lead as Garcia fouls it straight back, 0-2. They scored in the bottom of the second inning and held on to their lead, expanding it for the most part from that point on. They led by as many as 7 runs before ultimately hanging on to win by 3. The 0-2. Garcia strikes out swinging. Second strikeout of the inning for Allison Golick, and despite a 1-out single from Egan, the Saints don't score in the first. We go to inning number 2. 0-0. Brittany Schultz leads off the top of the second for St. Xavier. Schultz hitting the 8 spot in game 1, hit a long home run, and now moves up to the number 5 spot in the batting order here in game 2. She swings at the first pitch and lifts it to shallow center field. Trouble for Gallison, who can't quite reach it. A base hit for Schultz. Good effort by the St. Francis shortstop, but just a little bit too far out for a single for Brittany Schultz. First hit of the ball game for St. Xavier. Leadoff batter is aboard on first base in front of Tori Williams. Williams, the right fielder, batting in the 6th spot for the Cougars. Entered play today, hitting .391. She bunts the ball down the third base line here. It's foul for strike 1. Williams went 0 for 2 in the first game, but she did draw a bases-loaded walk in the 6th inning, so she picked up an RBI, and it was her 17th this year. 0-1. She pulls the bat back and takes the ball. It's 1-1. Williams looking to bunt during this at-bat. She squared up on each of the first 2 pitches. 2 sacrifices on the season. She pops up the bunt right at home plate. An easy catch for Jensen Crenshaw. The catcher didn't even have to move her feet, just hopped out of her crouch and made the grab. First out of the inning and a big out, keeping Schultz over at first base. That brings up Tori Kielman, the number 7 hitter and shortstop. 309 hitter for the year. Fouls back the first pitch, strike 1. Kielman went 0 for 3, struck out, grounded out twice in the opener. Getting her first chance here in game 2 with a runner at first base. 1 out in a scoreless game. Swing and a miss, it's 0-2. Neither team scored in the first inning. It's the first full inning in which neither team has scored since the first inning of game 1. 0-2. Fouled away. A lot of offense in that first game, as expected, between 2 of the best offensive teams in the conference, really 2 of the better offensive teams in the entire country. Another 0-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Pickoff down to first, not in time. First strikeout of the ball game for Hannah Vachon. She gets Kielman swinging. 2 outs in the inning. After the leadoff single, neither of the next 2 batters have been able to advance Schultz beyond first base, and now it's up to Nicole O'Donnell. O'Donnell gets her first at bat of the day and takes ball 1. She's been out there for the entirety of the doubleheader. She was the 3rd baseman in game 1, but she was in the flex position, did not get any at-bats. There's a fly ball out to center field and deep. Backing up, Haley Lent in front of the wall. She can't make the catch. It's off her glove. Rounding third base is Schultz. She scores. O'Donnell into second base, and St. Xavier takes a 1-0 lead. O'Donnell at second on a 2-base error from Haley Lent, who had a long way to go, and I think she took her eye off the ball. She was trying to see how much space she had in front of the fence. When she looked back up, the ball got on her fast, and it popped out of her glove. After not committing an error in the first game, that's the 2nd of game 2 against St. Francis, and it leads to a run. Here's number 9 hitter Frankie DeMack. DeMack takes ball 1 low from Vachon. No RBI for O'Donnell, who entered play today with 5 of them and a .242 batting average. She just missed her first home run. This one's deep center field. Length back on it, but she's able to make the play this time. A nice catch by Length, making up for the previous mistake as DeMack flies to deep center and ends the inning. 1 run scores on 1 hit, 1 error, 1 left. On our way to the bottom of the second, it's 1-0 St. Xavier. Bottom of the second inning, 1-0. St. Xavier leads St. Francis. 2 out, 2 base error in the top of the second inning led to St. Xavier's first run, and now Saints try to respond. Gallison, Tucker, and Callahan due to the plate. Ashley Gallison takes the first pitch for ball 1. Gallison, a .486 hitter at the start of play today. Had a double, a single, an RBI, and a run scored in the first game. She fouls it back, 1-1. St. Xavier leads for the first time today. They never held a lead in the first game. Fighting Saints were up in that one, pretty much wire to wire. Gallison hits a high pop, shallow left field, backing up and making the catch is the shortstop Tori Kielman. 1 away. As I started to say last inning, you look back to game 1. It started slowly for the offenses as neither team scored in the first inning, but kind of had a feeling that that was going to change just because these two offenses are so good. This second game started a little slowly offensively as well. Neither team scored in the first. St. Xavier is on the board in the second inning, and now we'll see if St. Francis can keep up. 1-0 on Madison Tucker, the designated player, getting her first at bat. Tucker pitched and won game 1. She checks her swing and she fouls it straight back. Strike 1, the count is even. Tucker's a .349 hitter. 2 extra base hits coming into play today. She went 2 for 4 with a couple of runs scored and 1 batted in the first game. Swing and a miss, 1-2. St. Xavier's got their strikeout pitcher in there for this game. Golick entering play today had 101 strikeouts in 75 2/3 innings. The rest of the team had a combined 70 strikeouts. As Tucker fouls it away to stay alive. And those 70 strikeouts came in 83 innings for the other 3 pitchers combined. So Golick just brings something different to the table. A fireballer. Line drive to left field down the line. Fair ball just inside the line. A base hit for Madison Tucker. Second hit of the game for St. Francis. They've both been 1-out singles. And Danielle Callahan is the batter. Callahan had one of the biggest hits in her St. Francis career in game 1, a 3-run homer. It's not easy to take the ball out of the park against Allison Golick or anybody on this St. Xavier pitching staff. First pitch to Callahan is taken for strike 1. Callahan and Lindsay Andrews each went deep in the first game. In 24 games prior to today, St. Xavier pitchers had allowed a grand total of 4 home runs. They gave up 2 in game 1 today. Ball high, it's 1-1 on Callahan. Runner at first base, 1 out. Swing and a miss, it's 1-2. Jensen Crenshaw stands on deck for St. Francis, trying to open up a second inning rally with 1 out. Callahan hits a foul ball straight back. Count remains 1-2. St. Francis has made Allison Golick work in the early going, not intimidated by the St. Xavier ace, who has been beaten only once this year. Ball 2. They've put together some very good at-bats. They've got 2 hits through an inning and a third. Have not yet gotten a runner to second base, though. Callahan is trying to change that here. She pops it up, foul ground right side. It'll stay in play, and the catch is made by first baseman Taylor Sturkowitz. 2 outs. It's up to Jensen Crenshaw. In the first inning, Paige Egan singled with 1 out, was stranded at first. In the second inning, Madison Tucker hit a 1-out single. She's still stuck at first, but Jensen Crenshaw still breathes life into St. Francis's offense. She takes strike 1. Crenshaw, .383 hitter at the start of play today. Takes a ball, and the count is even, 1-1. Crenshaw went 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored in game 1 this afternoon. Ground ball to short, scooped up by Kielman. The throw to first is in time for out number 3. So for the second straight inning, St. Francis gets a hit but leaves the runner at first base. We've played 2 out of 7. It's 1-0 St. Xavier. Top of the order for St. Xavier in the third inning. They lead the Fighting Saints 1-0. Lexi Lux, Lyda Robinson, and Amanda Ruskowski will get their second chance each against right-hander Hannah Vachon, who's only allowed 1 hit through 2 innings but has given up a run. A couple of errors have been committed by St. Francis. Lexi Lux is 0 for 1 with a ground out. And Lux takes ball 1 low. Second time through the order here for Vachon, but she also saw the entire batting order in game 1. She came on for the final 3 innings. In fact, she saw almost everybody twice. There's a called strike. It's 1-1. So the lineup and pitcher are now very familiar with each other. Madison Tucker started the first game, went 4 innings. Vachon came on for the final 3, and now her third inning of work in game 2 as Lux pops it up down the third baseline, foul, out of play. Count is 1-2. That was Nicole O'Donnell, the third baseman for St. Xavier, who tried to make that catch in foul territory and whiffed on it. It doesn't count, it's in foul ground. Lined into center field, a base hit. Lexi Lux is aboard, leadoff single. Second hit of the ball game for St. Xavier. It's the 4th hit of the doubleheader for Lux. Here's Lyda Robinson. Robinson reached down an error in the first inning. It was a coaxed error, though. She takes strike 1. It was because of her speed. Ashley Gallison hurried her throw to first base and threw it away in the process. Robinson ended up at second base. There's a bunt to the third base side, foul, strike 2. St. Xavier 1-0 on a 2-out run-scoring error in the top of the second inning. Robinson takes the ball. It's 1-2. St. Francis was able to snap a tough 2-game losing streak with the win in game 1. They dropped both ends of a doubleheader against Olivet Nazarene last week as that ball is fouled off to the left side. Out of play, still 1-2. Last week was a very busy one for the Fighting Saints. They got swept by Judson a week ago today, right here on this field. There's a ball high, 2-2. Couple of very tough losses to take. Both times they were up by multiple runs late, and blue leads ended up falling by 1 run in each game, 7-6 and 10-9. Fouled back, still 2-2. And then a couple of convincing wins on Wednesday against Cardinal Stritch. They beat the Wolves at Cardinal Stritch 7-2 and 7-3. And then on Friday, their third doubleheader of the week, they got swept again. So no splits among them. There's a looping liner to third base caught by Callahan. She throws back to first, but Lux was still standing on the bag. One out in the inning as Robinson lines to third. And the batter is Amanda Ruskowski. The doubleheader on Friday at Olivet Nazarene was another tough sweep. Again, they lost 2 one-run games on Monday. On Friday, they lost one one-run game. Ruskowski takes a ball. And then game 2, they ended up falling by 3, but that was an extra innings. 12-9 was the final score in game 2 against Olivet. #1 team in the conference so far. Swing and a miss. Ruskowski chased one in her eyes. The count is 1-1. Amanda Ruskowski, better than a 500 hitter, is just 2 for 5 during the doubleheader today. She grounded out to third base in the first inning against Vashon. She grounds this one to third base. Ashley Gallison, the shortstop, cuts it off, throws to first in time. Lux advances to second base, 2 away. And the batter is Sturkowitz. Vashon and company have done a good job on Ruskowski so far today. Now just 2 of 6 in the doubleheader. Entered play hitting .519. Sturkowitz is 0 for 1. They've done a pretty good job with her as well. She's got 2 hits and 5 at-bats. She fouls it away. Strike 1. But Sturkowitz entered hitting .397, so 2 for 5 with both of those hits being singles. Not the worst you could be doing against her by a long shot. Swing and a miss, 0-2. 2 outs, a runner at second base. And Hannah Vashon is 1 strike away from ending the top half of the third inning. The 0-2. Ball low. Fighting Saints have had to play the best of the best in the CCAC to open up conference play. They've already beaten St. Xavier once today. There's a 1-hopper to third. Callahan up with it, throws high to first base. Kayla Garcia comes down with the ball, but it's knocked out of her glove. Lux is going to try to score, and she's out at the plate. A wild play to end the inning. Looked like a routine grounder to Callahan. The throw to first pulled Garcia off the bag, but Garcia grabbed the ball, still had plenty of time to apply the tag on Sturkowitz. However, Sturkowitz, in running into the tag, knocked the ball out of Garcia's glove. Kayla stuck with it, threw home. Lux, who was trying to score from second base on the misplay, was thrown out, and the inning finally came to a close. So St. Xavier does not score. They leave 1. We head to the bottom of the third. It's 1-0. Cougars on top of the Saints. We've got an early pitchers duel brewing between St. Francis's Hannah Vashon and St. Xavier's Allison Golick. Golick has gotten the better of Vashon so far, leading 1-0 in the bottom of the third inning. St. Francis up to bat with Haley Length. Length drives it out to deep left field, but it's playable. DeMack backs up and makes the grab for out number 1. Length just missed that one. She drove it out to deep left. Got out to DeMack in a hurry, but DeMack had it the entire way. Backing up just in front of the wall, she was able to pull up and make the grab. Leadoff batter retired for the 3rd straight inning, and back to the top of the order now. Lindsay Andrews takes the first pitch for ball 1 from Golick. Golick struck out Andrews in the first inning, one of 2 strikeouts through the first 2 1/3 for Golick, the junior from Mentor, Ohio, who transferred in from Eastern Illinois. Andrews fouls it back. Count is 1-1. 7 of the first 9 set down by Golick. Andrews was one of those 7. There's a ball outside, 2-1. The top of the 3rd inning ended on a weird play. St. Xavier very nearly doubled their lead. But Lexi Lux was thrown out at home plate by Kayla Garcia. Ball 3 on Andrews. Still, Garcia was charged with an error on the play for not being able to apply the tag efficiently on Taylor Sturkowitz, who's coming down the line at first base. There's a called strike. The count is full. That error means St. Francis has committed 1 in every inning thus far. 3 for the game. We did not see an error committed in game 1 by either team. Popped up right side of the infield, taking 1 step back and a little over to the right. Lexi Lux makes the grab, 2 down. Golick will look for the first 1-2-3 inning of the game for either side. Paige Egan is the batter. Egan's already gotten to her once with a single. Saints have 2 hits in the early going, but they have not gotten a runner to second base. Egan throws her bat at it, rolls it down the third base line. It's a foul ball. Trying to bunt her way aboard. And she instead falls behind in the count, 0-1. Egan and Tucker are the 2 Saints with hits, both singles. Here's the 0-1. Taken for a ball. The count evens at 1. Golick is trying to make this just the 3rd inning out of 10 in today's doubleheader, in which there have been no runs. Ball 2 on Egan. The 1st inning of each game, and now potentially the 3rd inning in game 2. Other than that, each full inning has gone by with at least 1 run having scored. Egan bunts it again. This time it's a good one. Picked up by the pitcher Golick, but no play at first base. A bunt single for Paige Egan. She's 2 for 2. It's her 2nd hit of the game. It's her 2nd bunt hit of the day. She had 1 in game 1, 3 singles now overall to her credit as part of the twin bill. Here's Rachel Luckett. Luckett's still looking for her first hit of the doubleheader. She went 0 for 3 with a walk in the opener, 0 for 1 with a fly out to left here in game 2. Luckett hit the ball well her first time up, but Frankie DeMack was able to come sliding in and make the catch. 0-1 is the count. Runner at first base, 2 down. Each inning, Saints have gotten a runner to first. They've not yet had one at second. There's a called strike on Luckett, and the Saints are down to their final strike of the 3rd inning. 0-2. Golick steps up to the rubber, looking to put away Luckett and the Fighting Saints in the 3rd inning. She misses for ball 1. Kayla Garcia waits on deck. The Saints would love to see her come to the plate with 2 runners on. But Luckett finds herself behind in the count here. And she takes a strike. That's strike 2. I had the count wrong. I had it at 1-2. Now it's 1-2. Or 2-2 rather, I believe, on Luckett. Runner at first, 2 outs. And there's a ball up and away. So Luckett is putting up a fight here with 2 outs in the 3rd inning, not going down quietly. A full count. Paige Egan, a good base runner over at first base. She'll be going on contact. She'll be going before contact here. There is contact, line into left field. That is a foul ball. Just barely foul. Hard to tell from our vantage point up here. Thought it may have grazed the chalk line down there, but it apparently dropped just to the left of that. And it remains 3-2 on Rachel Luckett. She'll see a 7th pitch from Allison Golick. It's been a long 3rd inning for Golick, who just hasn't been able to shake free of these St. Francis's pesky hitters, but so far hasn't allowed a run. Another 3-2. Swung on and missed, strike three. Third strikeout of the ball game for Golick. And her third scoreless inning on the board as well. We head to the fourth, 1-0 St. Xavier. After 3 innings, it's 1-0 St. Xavier on top. They look to expand that lead in the fourth with Schultz, Williams, and Kielman due to hit against Hannah Vachon. Vachon winds for the first pitch. It's rolled out to second base, gloved by Andrews. The throw to first is in time. Schultz is retired. She's seen a grand total of 2 pitches today, 1 for 2 with a single, and now a ground out to second base. And a nice quick first out in the fourth inning. Vachon has looked good so far in this one, after she gave up 4 runs in 3 innings in game 1 of the doubleheader. She's been much better through 3 1/3 in this game. Only allowed 1 unearned run thus far. Strike 1 called on Williams. Hasn't had the same cooperation from her defense in this game that she did in the earlier contest, but she's only allowed 2 hits thus far. None of them to Tori Williams, who's 0 for 1. She bounces this up the middle. Andrews gloves it awkwardly, throws to first, not in time. An infield hit for Williams. That was not an easy play by any means for Lindsay Andrews. She had to range to her right to field it right in front of second base, and the last bounce it took was an odd one. Andrews adjusted beautifully, made the play and threw quickly to first base, threw accurately to first base, but it was just a little bit late. An infield hit for Tori Williams, and here is Tori Kielman taking ball 1. Kielman is 0 for 1. She struck out swinging in the second inning. It's the only strikeout so far in the game for Vachon. This ball is lined hard into center field, a base hit. Back-to-back singles for the Cougars. Williams to second base. Kielman safe at first. 2 on. Only 1 out in the fourth inning for Nicole O'Donnell. St. Xavier trying to provide a little breathing room for themselves, with Allison Golick doing the pitching. A 1-0 lead has felt pretty good for them. A couple more runs here would make it a big hill for St. Francis to climb. Ball 1 on O'Donnell. Nicole O'Donnell, a .242 hitter, starting at third base for both ends of the doubleheader. She did not bat in game 1. There's a fly ball, right field foul territory, and it drops untouched for a 1-1 count. Landed in between Andrews, Garcia, and Egan. Nobody could get close to it, and so it falls harmlessly for a foul ball and a strike. O'Donnell offensively in her first at-bat was involved in what was so far the biggest play of the game. She crushed it out to deep center field. She fouls this one back. It's 1-2. She crushed it to straightaway center, backing Haley Lenth up. Lenth got to the spot but couldn't make the catch as it bonked off her glove. That allowed the first and to this point the only run of the game to score. 1-2. O'Donnell makes contact and stays alive with a foul ball out of play. Kielman's at first. Williams is at second. 1 out in the inning. 1-2 pitch. Hit in the air to center field again, this time a little bit more shallow. Length comes in and makes the catch, avoiding collision with Luckett. Tagging and going to third base is Tori Williams. They're at the corners. They'll appeal back to second, and she left too early. Williams left too early. She's called out at second base, and it's a double play to end the fourth inning. A couple of singles for St. Xavier, but a base running gaff and no run score. So we'll head to the bottom of the fourth inning, still 1-0 in favor of the visitors. One to nothing, St. Xavier leads St. Francis after 3.5 innings. Saints committed an error in each of the first 3 innings. They shored up the defense in the fourth, making a double play to end it. Now they got to get the offense going. Good trio of hitters coming up to try to do that here. Garcia, Gallison, and Tucker in the fourth to face Allison Golick. Kayla Garcia's 0 for 1, struck out in the first. And she takes a ball outside, 1-0. Garcia had a double, a couple of runs scored in game 1. Now trying to get on base for the first time in game 2. She takes a ball off the corner, 2-0. Garcia is at the bottom of the list for St. Francis batting average wise, an All-American a year ago. Got off to a slow start somewhat, but has really turned it on of late. She takes a strike, it's 2-1. I talked about it earlier, but even though the average hasn't really been there, the power numbers certainly have. 647 slugging percentage coming into today's game. There's a ball outside, it's 3-1. She also leads the team with 15 walks taken, and she's been hit by an incredible 10 pitches this year. So despite the low-ish batting average, a .468 on-base percentage coming in. 3-1 count. Garcia lets it rip and can't connect. It's 3-2. I think she probably chased ball 4 up high there, but with a 3-1 count, tried to tie the score up with that swing. And didn't hit it, but still alive. It's 3-2. Golick trying to put her away, but she misses upstairs for ball 4. That's a rarity, a walk from Golick. It's just her 11th this year in 79 innings pitched. She averages less than a walk per start. But Garcia is on base for the first time in the game, for the 3rd time in the doubleheader. Here's Ashley Gallison with the tying run on base. Gallison is 0 for 1. She popped out to her counterpart at shortstop her first time up. And here she takes a ball high. Gallison hitting just shy of 500 on the season. 36 for 75 at the plate. Fouls this one back. Count is 1-1. One to nothing. St. Xavier leads on an unearned run in the 2nd inning. Fighting Saints have 3 hits. They've had 4 base runners. haven't scored as Gallison takes a strike. They still haven't had a runner in scoring position. And 3 of their 4 base runners have reached with fewer than 2 outs. 1-2, fouled away. Still 1-2. Gallison's trying to break that streak and get this runner over to second. Kayla Garcia trying to find her way home eventually. Tie up the score. Golik's 1-2 is fouled away. Still 1-2. Golik sets herself for the 1-2 pitch. This is the 6th offering to Gallison. And it's another foul ball, so she'll get a 7th. Gallison putting up a fight here, staying alive against Allison Golik. Golik's got 3 strikeouts, 1 walk so far. She's allowed 3 hits. They've all been singles. No runs to this point. Gallison fouls it off the edge of the bat. It's still 1-2. That time looked like she tried to get out of the way of that pitch, which was inside. I think it got the nub of the bat as she tried to pull back on her swing. She just leaned into it a little bit. There's another foul, straight back. Gallison's hit 5 two-strike foul balls here. This long at bat continues. Garcia walks to open up the inning. So Golik's having a little trouble with the middle of the St. Francis order. There's a ball in the dirt, 2-2. Gallison will see a 10th pitch. It'll be the 16th of the inning from Golik. She hasn't yet gotten an out. Madison Tucker waits on deck, barring a double play. Danielle Callahan will bat this inning as Gallison fouls back another one. She's just missing them, fouling them all straight back. Nice job of staying alive from the senior shortstop. Another 2-2. High fly ball out to left field into foul ground and out of play. That's her 7th two-strike foul ball. I think it's the first one that didn't go straight back. There was the foul tip a moment ago as well. It just hit the edge of the bat. Another 2-2 pitch. Gallison hits another foul ball. She's seen 12 pitches so far, and she'll see a 13th. Still 2-2. Golik has not yet given in with a 3rd ball. Garcia's at first. Nobody out. The pitch fouled away. She'll see a 14th pitch. Neither side giving in this at-bat. A good battle in a big moment, bottom of the 4th inning, so we're starting to get to the later stages of the game. And it's only a 1-run game. With a runner on, it's a huge at-bat. Soft liner to 3rd. It's caught by O'Donnell. The throw back to 1st is not in time for the double play, but Gallison is retired on the 14th pitch of the at-bat. She is out number 1. And now Garcia heads down to 2nd and slides in safely. On a wild throw. So Garcia moves into scoring position. First time that anybody's done that for St. Francis today. It's a long at bat for Gallison, 14 pitches. She finally lined out. Garcia was straying off of first base on the liner, was able to dive back to the bag, but then on an errant throw from St. Xavier, Garcia was able to advance to 2nd base. So good base running, and now it's Madison Tucker taking a ball. Base hit from Tucker potentially could tie the score. She's got 1 already, 1 for 1 with a single. Next pitch is fouled back behind home plate. It's 1-1. It's already been a long bottom of the 4th inning, and there have only been 2 batters. 22 pitches thrown this inning by Golik. 1-1 on Tucker. Trying to even up the score with a hit. She takes a ball up and away. 2-1. A single could score Garcia from second. An extra base hit would certainly tie it up. Tucker could put one over the fence. It would give St. Francis their first lead of the game. Tucker drives it to deep center field, trying to put one over the fence. She hits it off the fence instead. Garcia scores, heading to second base safely with a double is Madison Tucker, and we're tied at 1. Tucker's got her second hit of the ball game. It's a 2-base hit. It scores a run, her third double, her 10th RBI of the season. Madison Tucker has had a big day today. She's got 4 hits in the doubleheader, 2 RBIs. And she also pitched 4 strong innings in game 1. Here's Callahan taking a first pitch strike from Golick. So Garcia's ability to make it from first to second after the Gallison lineout proves to be huge. I don't think she would have scored from first base on that play. She had to hold up momentarily to see if the ball were to be caught by Lyda Robinson. 1-1 on Callahan, who popped out to first base in her first at bat. Callahan takes a ball off the glove of Schultz. It gets to the backstop. And the passed ball advances Tucker to third base. So now the go-ahead run is just 1 base away. It's 2-1 on Callahan. Meeting amongst the entire infield, along with Aaron Mollahan. In the pitcher's circle right now, trying to settle down Allison Golick, who's been pitching well. But she's run into some trouble here, thanks in part to the defense behind and in front of her. An error and now a passed ball have helped St. Francis move some base runners up. St. Francis needs some contact here from Callahan. Trying to get this run in from third base with less than 2 outs. We're ready to go with the 2-1 pitch. Golick delivers. Callahan pops it up. Foul territory, right side, playable for Sturkowitz, who drifts back into fair ground and makes the catch. They got contact from her, but not exactly what they needed. Not deep enough, certainly. As the catch is made on the infield, Tucker has to hold at third base, and now it's up to Jensen Crenshaw to get this run in from third. 1-1 tie in the bottom of the 4th inning. Crenshaw is 0 for 1 with a ground out. She swings through the first pitch, strike 1. Garcia walked, Tucker doubled her in. Crenshaw fouls it back, 0-2. Tucker moved from second to third base on a passed ball. She was at third with only 1 out, but still there now with 2 outs as Allison Golick comes within 1 strike of getting out of this jam. The 0-2 pitch, fouled away, still 0-2. It's been a long, taxing inning for Allison Golick, but if she can get 1 more strike, she can head back to the dugout in a tie game. Another 0-2. Crenshaw takes ball 1. St. Xavier scored their run in the top of the 2nd. St. Francis has answered here in the bottom of the 4th. Crenshaw fouls it away. She's still alive. It's been a productive inning regardless of what happens here because they have been able to score a run and tie it up at 1, but getting that go-ahead run to third base with only 1 out, it would feel like a disappointment if they can't get that run in, considering the first 3 innings they didn't even get a runner past first. Crenshaw takes a ball low, 2-2. It just goes to show that opportunities against a good pitcher like this, they come few and far between. You got to take advantage when you get them. Crenshaw trying to do just that. 7th pitch of the at-bat. Misses high, ball 3. Runner at third base, 2 outs, 3-2 on Crenshaw. Haley Length waits to hit next. She'll only bat, though, if Crenshaw can reach and keep the inning alive. This will be the 8th pitch. And Crenshaw strikes out swinging. Golick bounces back nicely from the early walk and the RBI double. She strikes out Crenshaw, her 4th K of the ball game. And we'll head to the 5th with the score tied 1-1. With 3 innings to play, we remain tied 1-1, St. Francis and St. Xavier. Cougars to bat here with their 9-1-2 hitters. Frankie DeMack takes strike 1 from Hannah Vachon. Vachon's been sharp through 4 innings. Got a good long rest there, as the bottom of the 4th inning seemed to go on forever. But the Saints ended up with just 1 run out of it. As DeMack takes a ball low. The count is 1-1. 36 pitches in the bottom of the 4th inning thrown by Allison Golick. She walked a batter. She gave up a hit. She struck 1 out. Stranded the go-ahead run at 3rd base. Ball low on DeMack. The count is 2-1. Frankie DeMack went 0 for 3 in game 1. She's 0 for 1 so far in game 2. Trying to get off the schneid here. She pops it up, foul ground, left side, and out of play. Count is 2-2. DeMack was a .400 hitter at the start of play today, 26 for 65. So this has not been an easy task to shut her down to the tune of 0 for 4 in the game. And they're not going to get her to 0 for 5 as she knocks it into left field for a base hit. DeMack takes a big turnaround first, but holds steady with a single. Leadoff batter reaches for the 3rd time in 5 innings for the Cougars. For as good as Vachon has been, she doesn't have a 1-2-3 inning. Neither, for that matter, does Allison Golick. There have been base runners nigh constantly in this game. Lexi Lux is the batter. She shows bunt, takes the ball down low. Lux is 1 for 2 with a single. She's 4 for 6 in the doubleheader so far. Lux takes the next pitch for a strike. It's 1-1. Lux scored 3 times in game 1. Nearly scored a run here in game 2. She was thrown out at the plate in a bizarre play that ended the top of the 3rd. Would have made it 2-0. She gets the bunt down this time. 3rd base side, picked up by Callahan, who throws to first in time. It's a sacrifice. DeMack advances to 2nd base. The go-ahead run is in scoring position for St. Xavier. But the Saints get the out. Most important thing right now. Lyda Robinson is the batter. Robinson is 0 for 2. She reached on an error in the 1st inning. Lined out to 3rd base in the 3rd inning. Now is a chance to give her team the lead with a hit here in the 5th inning. She takes a strike. 0-1 on Robinson. Runner at 2nd base, 1 out. Vachon delivers and it misses for a ball. It's 1-1. It's a big at bat for Hannah Vachon for a number of reasons. The primary one being that the leading runner for St. Xavier is 2 bases away. Amanda Ruskowski is on deck. Popped up in foul ground and nearly caught by the catcher, Jensen Crenshaw. She made a nice effort for it. It was a half swing from Lyda Robinson. Didn't pop up too high in the air, just a couple of feet off the ground. Crenshaw dove for it just to the third base side of home plate. Only a couple of feet beyond the plate on that third base side. Crenshaw just missed it. There's a blooper foul to the left side and out of play, still 1-2. Ruskowski is a big-time hitter coming up next. She's got a chance to break the game open, so you don't want her to come up with multiple base runners or with 1 run already in. There's a hard grounder off the glove of Callahan. It's a fair ball, and Robinson is safe at first base. DeMack advances to third, an infield hit for Lyda Robinson. And they're at the corners with 1 out for Ruskowski. That ball was right on the line. Callahan dove for it. Hard to see if it would have stayed fair if she hadn't touched it. I think it would have. She touched it in fair territory, so even though it quickly ricocheted foul, it was a fair ball. Ruskowski takes strike 1. Vachon could use a strikeout here. She's only got 1 of them so far in the game. She takes a ball up high, and the count is even at 1. Ruskowski is 0 for 2 with a couple of groundouts. 519 hitter coming in. She's 2 for 6 in the doubleheader. 1-1. Fouled back out of play. It's 1-2. So Vachon has put herself in position to get that much needed strikeout. See if she can get 1 more. 1 more strike. 1-2 pitch. Misses for a ball. We're even again. DeMack and Robinson have singled this inning. They're at the corners with 1 down. A strikeout or a hard ground ball right at somebody. Either would do. It's a fly ball instead. Shallow right. It drops in front of Egan for a hit. A run comes in to score. Heading to third is Robinson. St. Xavier leads 2-1. An RBI single for Amanda Ruskowski. That's her 3rd hit of the doubleheader. All 3 of them have scored runs. And St. Xavier still has runners at the corners with only 1 down on their 3rd hit of the inning. Here's Taylor Sturkowitz. Sturkowitz takes ball 1 high. Ball popped out of the glove of Crenshaw. Ruskowski thought about heading for second. Crenshaw stuck with it. And she feigned to throw down to first base, elected to hold on to the ball. Ruskowski at first, Robinson at third, Sturkowitz in the batter's box, and she takes a ball, 2-0. Two to 1 now in favor of St. Xavier on Ruskowski's RBI single, taking the lead back immediately after St. Francis tied it. Sturkowitz takes a strike, 2-1. With the single from Ruskowski, the situation remains identical. Runners at the corners, 1 out. Now a run is in though. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Because the situation is identical, the scenarios for the pitcher remain identical. Vachon needs a strikeout if she can get it. Ground ball to third. Callahan knocks it down, throws across to first base in time for the out. Ruskowski advances to second base, but Robinson stays put at third. So that's the out that Vachon needed. Like I said, she was looking for a strikeout. It really wasn't that important that it was a strikeout. The important thing is get the out and keep the runner at third base, and that's exactly what she did. 2 down now, and that brings up Schultz. Brittany Schultz is 1 for 2 with a single and a ground out. She's seen a grand total of 2 pitches in the game, and she puts it in play on the first pitch here. Popping it out to the right side of the infield, Lindsey Andrews, the second baseman, makes the grab, and the inning is over. A productive inning for St. Xavier as they do regain the lead on an RBI single from Ruskowski. It could have been a lot worse, though, as they leave them at second and third. We'll head to the bottom of the 5th inning. St. Francis trails by a run. Bottom of the 5th inning, 2-1. St. Xavier leads St. Francis. Two teams have been trading runs. Cougars scored one, and then St. Francis came back in the bottom of the 4th, tied the score. 1/2 inning later, St. Xavier reclaims the lead at 2-1. Haley Length leads off the bottom of the 5th, pops it up to the right side, and the catch is made by Lexi Lux in shallow right field, right down the line. A lot of ground covered by Lux there. Nice grab. Length is 0 for 2. First pitch out recorded right there. They weren't coming that easily last inning for Allison Golick. She threw 36 pitches overall in the inning. Not that that's going to provide a significant amount of wear on her arm. It's just proof at what a struggle it's been for her to get outs in the game. She's been getting them. Just hasn't been easy. Lindsay Andrews takes ball 1. St. Francis lineup makes you work. Andrews is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a pop-out. She takes a big cut and foul tips it. Count is 1-1. St. Francis has 4 hits in the game so far. 1 in every inning. Singles in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and a double in the 4th. Madison Tucker's got 2 of the hits, and Paige Egan's got 2 of the hits. There's a ball on Andrews, 2-1. So they have not had consistent success up and down the lineup against Allison Golick, but a couple of players have figured her out pretty well. Andrews so far has not been one of them, but she's got a hitter's count here. 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out, nobody on base. It's the Cougars by a run in the bottom of the 5th inning. Saints still have 8 outs to work with. Andrews digs back in, number 4 on her back. Right-handed hitter in her first year at St. Francis here. Sophomore transfer. Pops it up, foul ground, right side, and just out of play into the St. Francis dugout. Count is 2-2. Paige Egan is on deck. If anybody reaches this inning, the batter will be Rachel Luckett, and somebody has reached in every inning. I mean every half inning. There's not been a single perfect frame, and you wouldn't expect that in a game that's 2-1 in the bottom of the 5th. Ball up and away, 3-2. Neither of these pitchers has dominated. They've both just pitched well enough to put up a good stat line so far. Payoff pitch. Andrews swings and hits it high in the air out to center field, right at Lyda Robinson, who camps under it and makes the catch for out number 2. First 2 batters retired. And that brings up Paige Egan. Egan is 2 for 2 with a couple of infield singles. See if she can pick up a 3rd one right here. First pitch to Paige Egan misses low for ball 1. St. Xavier has scored runs in the 2nd and 5th. St. Francis in the 4th. Cougars will send Williams, Kielman, and O'Donnell to the plate in the 6th inning. Egan loops it foul to the left side, out of play. The count is 1-1. Golick is looking for her first 1-2-3 inning of the game. This is the closest that anybody has come, retiring the first 2 batters of the frame. Neither pitcher has done that more than once. That ball misses 2-1. I check again. Golick has done this twice now. She did it with the same hitters in the 3rd inning. But Egan broke up a chance at a perfect frame with a bunt single. She takes a ball high. Hitters count now 3-1. Hannah Vachon has not at any point retired the first 2 batters of the inning. Vachon has been pitching with runners on pretty much the whole game. Egan bunts it in front of the pitcher. Picked up by Golick. The throw to first is not in time. It's another bunt single for Paige Egan. Her 2nd of the game. They've come in similar spots. 2 outs, nobody on in an inning. In the 3rd, she was stranded at first as Rachel Luckett struck out. We'll see if it happens again here in the 5th. Luckett tries to snap out of it. She's 0 for 5 in the doubleheader so far. Golick looks to retire her to end the inning. Luckett takes the ball high. Two to 1, tying run over at first base with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. And there's a called strike. It's 1-1. One on Luckett. She fouls it off. It's 1-2. Good speed over at first base with Paige Egan taking her spot there. Egan reached on a single. She's 3 for 3 in the game. She's got 3 of the team's 5 hits. They've had 1 hit in every inning so far. The 1-2. Popped foul and out of play to the left side. Still a ball and 2 strikes on Luckett. Golick's numbers have been good today, but she hasn't been able to put away the St. Francis hitters the way she's accustomed to. She misses for ball 2 on Luckett. She came in with 101 strikeouts in 75 2/3 innings. Today she's got 4 strikeouts, not a bad number. But it just seems like every time she gets to 2 strikes on somebody, they just keep on battling. No easy outs. Ball high, 3-2. Ashley Gallison had a 14-pitch at bat in the 4th inning. Luckett is fighting again here. She'll see a 7th pitch in this at bat. With Egan on the move from first base, the 3-2 pitch. Lined up the middle, a base hit. Egan heads to 3rd base, a single for Luckett, and the throw goes into 3rd. Luckett goes to 2nd. So now 2 runners in scoring position for Kayla Garcia. Back-to-back 2-out hits for St. Francis. And a base hit from Garcia would potentially give St. Francis the lead. It would tie the score up at least, any hit from Garcia. And it would likely give them the lead. Garcia is hitless so far against Golick. 0 for 1 with a strikeout, a walk, and a run scored. And Mollahan, the head coach, will come out and have a talk right now with Golick. Hasn't been one of Golick's easier starts. Certainly not the last couple of innings. They've got to talk strategy coming up against Garcia here. Ashley Gallison coming up after Garcia, so it's pick your poison. If you don't want to pitch to Garcia, still got to face a 500 hitter. Back-to-back base hits for the Fighting Saints with 2 outs, and they're up to 6 hits for the game now. They've been out hit 7-6 so far. It's been your unconventional pitcher's duel. First pitch to Garcia, misses for ball 1. By the score, 2-1, you'd have to say both pitchers have been on their game, but both teams have had to deal with almost constant base runners. Ball high, 2-0. Saints have had 7 base runners through 4 2/3 innings. Cougars have had more than that. Garcia takes another ball, 3-0. St. Xavier's had 10 base runners through 5 innings. 3-0 on Garcia. And she takes ball 4. It's a 4-pitch walk. Second time that Garcia has walked today. Second time that Golick has walked anybody. It's just the 12th walk she's issued this season. And now the batter is Ashley Gallison. Gallison is 0 for 2, but she had a wild at bat last inning, 14 pitches before finally lining out to third base, and she hits here with the bases full. And a base hit could turn this game on its head. Gallison takes the first one for ball 1. The threat always when you intentionally walk a batter, and it looked like more or less what was going on with Kayla Garcia to load the bases, that now the pitcher really can't make any mistakes as Gallison flies it out to left center field, long run back, and it's over the head of Frankie DeMack. 2 runs are in. Garcia is going to try to make it 3. The throw to the plate is in time. Garcia is out number 3, and the inning is over. Saints score 2 runs. Garcia still down at the plate. She was tagged out at home. She pulls herself up. It is a 2-run double for Ashley Gallison. Garcia was slow to get up and walking gingerly off the field, but she is walking off the field on her own. Seems to be doing all right for the moment. A big hit for Gallison. Despite Garcia being thrown out at home, it is a 2-run hit and a 3-2 lead now for St. Francis as they take an advantage for the first time today. We're heading to the 6th. Saints lead by a run.
Fielder, Tori Williams.
3-2 lead for St. Francis in the top of the 6th inning. Tori Williams leads things off. Williams swings the first pitch, lofts it to the left side. Callahan dives into foul territory and makes the catch. Outstanding diving grab by the third baseman Callahan, robbing Williams of a foul ball and a chance to hit again. And there is out number 1. St. Francis playing well now. They've been trailing the whole game, but they took the lead in the bottom of the 5th inning, and now the top of the 6th starts with a highlight reel play. One away, here's Tori Kielman. Good benefit for Hannah Vachon. The defense stepping up behind her for the first out of the inning. There's ball 1 to Kielman, who's 1 for 2 in the game. Kayla Garcia was shaken up after being tagged out at home plate to end the bottom of the 5th, but she's still out there playing first base in the 6th inning, so that's good news for the Fighting Saints. Ball high, 2-0, and for Kayla herself, of course. 2-0 on Kielman, 1 out, nobody on, top of the 6th inning. Just a 1-run game, but the Saints are 5 outs away from a doubleheader sweep. Gonna have to get through some tough hitters to get it, though. Strike called on Kielman, 2-1. It's the 6, 7, and 8 batters hitting for St. Xavier this inning. 2-1 pitch from Hannah Vachon. Fouled back, 2-2. This is the third time in 6 innings that Vachon has retired the leadoff batter. She has not yet in today's game retired the first 2 batters consecutively. Neither pitcher has a 1-2-3 inning. Ball outside, 3-2. It's been kind of a sloppy, disjointed pitcher's duel here. 4 combined errors. Loads of base runners on both sides. There's a swing and a line shot to center field, a base hit for Kielman. Ashley Gallison made a jumping effort for it, couldn't pull it in. So the trend continues. St. Xavier gets an early base runner again. A 1-out single for Kielman, who's now 2 for 3. Tying run is on base, and it's not Kielman. It's pinch runner. Madeline Meisel heads over to first base. The batter is Nicole O'Donnell. O'Donnell is 0 for 2. She's been involved in a couple of weird flyouts to center field. First one was dropped by Haley Length, turned into a 2-base error that led to the game's first run. Second one turned into an 8-5-4 double play when the runner at second base took off too soon and was doubled up. Ball high, 1-0 on Nicole O'Donnell. It was Tori Williams who was at second on that play. 1 ball, no strikes, runner at first, 1 out, top of the 6th inning of a 1-run game. Ball low, it's 2-0. St. Xavier has led most of the way, but 2 teams have traded runs the last few innings. 2-0 pitch, downstairs, ball 3. It was 1-0 heading into the bottom of the 4th inning. St. Francis scored a run to tie it at 1. St. Xavier scored 1 in the 5th to reclaim the lead at 2-1. And then 2 runs for the Fighting Saints in the bottom of the 5th inning. That made it 3-2. Here in the 6th, St. Xavier threatening again with a runner at first base, only 1 out, and a 3-0 count on Nicole O'Donnell. Frankie DeMack waits on deck. Here's the pitch. Ball 4, a 4-pitch walk. First walk of the game for Vachon. In the entire doubleheader, nearly 13 innings in now, that's only the 2nd walk issued by any St. Francis pitcher. Vachon has been out there for the majority of the doubleheader. She's pitched 8 1/3 innings. Madison Tucker pitched 4 in game 1. I think we're going to see Tucker again here come out and try to finish off game 2. With Vachon suddenly struggling, allowing back-to-back base runners with 1 out in the 6th. It is going to be a pitching change. So I'll tell you a little bit more about Madison Tucker in just a moment. Right now, I'll take a break. 1 out, 2 on. Top of the 6th inning. It's a 1-run lead for the Saints. Top of the 6th inning, St. Francis 3, St. Xavier 2. Tying run is in scoring position for the Cougars. The go-ahead run's at first base with 1 out. Frankie DeMack, the number 9 hitter, is coming up against a new pitcher for the Fighting Saints, the freshman Madison Tucker. Tucker won her 3rd game of the year earlier today. She's making her 3rd relief appearance of the season, her 20th appearance overall. As the starter in game 1 of today's doubleheader, she went 4 innings. And she allowed only 1 run on 3 hits. Frankie DeMack takes the first pitch for a strike. DeMack against Tucker in the first game went 0 for 1 with a ground out. Tucker retired the first 9 batters and the last 3 that she faced. There's a swing and a miss off the glove of Crenshaw, but she keeps it close. No advance, and the count is 0-2. DeMack 1 for 2 in this game with a single and a run scored. Pinch runner Meisels at second base. O'Donnell's at first. There's a ball outside, 1-2. Tucker trying to get the final 5 outs and wrap up a sweep for St. Francis. St. Xavier's got a lot left to say about it, though, as DeMack way out in front of that one, strikes out swinging. Tried to stop her swing. I don't know if she went all the way around with the bat, but she leaned her body so far out in front of home plate and trying to stop herself on the swing, as she clearly went too far for the 2nd out of the inning. It's the first strikeout of the game and of the doubleheader for Madison Tucker, who pitched 4 innings, didn't strike anybody out in game 1. Ball downstairs on the leadoff batter, Lexi Lux. Lux is 4 for 6 with a sacrifice bunt during the doubleheader today. A hit here would probably tie the score. Good speed at second base. There's ball 2. 2-0 on Lux. Lux went 1 for 2 with a single and a ground out against Tucker in game 1. There's a ground ball to the shortstop, picked up by Gallison, and she steps on second base herself. 6 unassisted on the fielder's choice. The inning is over. Despite a hit and a walk, no runs scored for St. Xavier. The Saints are 3 outs from victory. They'll try to pad the lead first, heading to the bottom of the 6th inning. They're up 3-2. It's a 3-2 lead for St. Francis as we move into the bottom of the 6th inning. Madison Tucker, Danielle Callahan, Jensen Crenshaw due up against Allison Golick, who's been out there the entire time. Hasn't been her typical self. First pitch to the pitcher, Madison Tucker, is fouled back. Tucker started this game as the designated player. She's 2 for 2 with a single, a double, and an RBI. She moved in to pitch last inning, retired the only 2 batters she faced. She presumably will pitch the 7th as well. Tucker takes a ball. The count is 1-1. Golick, one of the top pitchers in the conference, has only been beaten once this year. Swing and a miss, 1-2. She averages nearly 10 strikeouts per 7 innings pitched, but today she's got only 4 of them through 5 innings. There's a ground ball to first base picked up by Sturkowicz. She steps on the bag. 3 unassisted for the first out.
Third baseman, Danielle.
She averages only about 5 hits given up per 7 innings. Today she's allowed 7. And she came in with a 1.3 ERA. She's allowed 3 earned runs today. One of the top pitchers in the conference going up against arguably the top offense in the conference. And it's been mostly a draw as Callahan takes the ball outside. Saints haven't been able to put up the usual offensive numbers, but again, they've done a lot more against Golick than most teams do. Ball up and away, 2-0, and the key to this game has not been either Golick or the Saints offense. The key has been Hannah Vachon and Madison Tucker, who have done a really good job of holding back the mighty St. Xavier offense, holding them to just 2 runs through 6 innings. 2-0, fouled back, it's 2-1. Callahan has popped out to first base twice. She hit a long 3-run homer in game 1. She takes a strike, it's 2-2. One out, nobody on base. Golick's 2-2 to Callahan, fouled back. St. Francis got swept against first place Olivet Nazarene on Friday in their most recent games. Now they're trying to do the same to third place St. Xavier today. Ground ball third base side foul, still 2-2. Crenshaw waits on deck. 7th inning for St. Xavier. Lyda Robinson, Amanda Ruskowski, and Taylor Sturkowitz. Madison Tucker is going to have to earn that save. Ball downstairs, 3-2. Fighting Saints can make it a little bit easier on her if they put on a few more runs here. They got their rally going with 2 outs last inning. There were 2 outs, nobody on, and then 4 consecutive base runners. Single, single, walk, double. So it gave them the lead. And there's a strike called for the 5th strikeout of the ball game for Allison Golick. Callahan goes down looking. 2 outs in the 6th. Jensen Crenshaw is 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. Crenshaw takes ball 1 low. There's a high fly hit by Crenshaw, shallow right field. Coming in is Williams. Tori Williams makes the catch and ends the inning. Bottom of the 6th, our first 1-2-3 inning of the game. But St. Francis still has a 1-run lead. It's 3-2 as we head to the 7th. They're 3 outs away from a doubleheader sweep. Top of the 7th inning, last chance for St. Xavier. They trail 3-2. St. Francis trying to come from behind to win this one after they trailed for the majority of it. They never trailed by more than a run. But they were still down most of the game against one of the top pitchers in the conference. So this would be an impressive comeback victory if they can hold on. And it'll be even more impressive because of how they'll have to get through the 7th inning. Lyda Robinson takes strike 1 from Madison Tucker. This is going to be a tough inning for Tucker, facing Robinson, Ruskowski, and Sturkowitz, the 2, 3, and 4 batters. Lyda Robinson is 1 for 3. She has singled and reached on an air. Swing and a miss. The count is 0-2. Tucker came in the 6th inning with runners at first and second and 1 out. She struck out Frankie DeMack. She got Lexi Lux to ground out. So she's retired both batters that she's faced. Grounder down the third baseline, foul. In the first game, which Tucker started, she retired the first 9 batters she faced. Here in this one, she'd only have to retire the first 5 to pick up the save. Tucker has 1 save this season, going for number 2. Another 0-2 to Robinson. Floated out to left field, and it drops in front of Luckett for a base hit. Tying run is aboard to lead off the 7th inning. That brings up Amanda Ruskowski. Ruskowski's got 3 hits in the doubleheader. All 3 of them have been RBIs. She's 1 for 3 in this game. She's grounded out twice to go along with her run-scoring single. She bunts it foul for strike 1. Trying to move the tying run in a scoring position here, but Ruskowski, who was hitting .519 and slugging .846 coming into this game, would be doing St. Francis a major favor if she bunts again here. She is bunting, but she pulls the bat back and takes the ball high, 1-1. Ruskowski does not have a sacrifice this year. She does have, entering play, 10 extra base hits and 52 at-bats. 1-1. That ball is bunted out in front of the plate, picked up by the catcher Crenshaw. She throws down to first in time for the out. So Ruskowski does get credit for her first sacrifice of the season. Tying run is in scoring position now with 1 down. The batter is Taylor Sturkowitz. So they advance the runner, but again, I think that's more of a benefit than anything to St. Francis, as the bat was taken out of the hands of St. Xavier's best hitter. Now Sturkowitz will try to get the run in with a hit. She takes ball 1 low. Sturkowitz is 0 for 3 in the game. She has reached on an error once. She went 2 for 4 with an RBI in game 1. A .397 hitter for the season. She swings and misses. Count is 1-1. If Sturkowitz is unable to get the run in, Brittany Schultz would try. She's on deck. She swung the bat well today. Sturkowitz grounds it to the left side. Gloved by the shortstop Gallison. Throw to first is in time. 2 down. Robinson advances to third base. So now the tying run just 60 feet away, but the Saints are 1 out away from winning this game by 1 run. Brittany Schultz is 1 for 3 with a single. She's seen a total of 3 pitches in the game. She's put them all in play. See if she's aggressive here. Not on the first pitch. It was nowhere near the zone. It's the first time in the game she's taken one. She's got 2 hits in the doubleheader. One of them was a long home run in game 1. Ball low. The count is 2-0. Robinson led off the inning with a single. Moved to second on a Ruskowski bunt. And to third on a Sturkowitz ground out. Now it's 2-0 on Brittany Schultz. 3-2 Saints lead. And Schultz takes ball 3. Tori Williams is on deck. 3-0 pitch from Tucker. It's in there for a strike. 3-1 count. Schultz can tie it up with a hit. An out ends the game in the Saints' favor. Hitters count 3-1. And she takes ball 4. So the go-ahead run reaches base now with 2 outs in the 7th inning. That's not the hugest concern for Madison Tucker. She still knows that if she retires Williams, that runner at first doesn't really matter. The runner at third would tie the score. Tori Williams is 1 for 3. She singled back in the 4th inning. Left-handed batter now. Williams takes the first pitch low for ball 1. The walk to Schultz was the first walk issued by Madison Tucker today. She's pitched 5 1/3 innings between the 2 games. There's a called strike. It's 1-1. Walk is the second of the game for St. Francis pitchers in all. Hannah Vachon started. She walked 1. She gave up 2 runs in 5 1/3 innings. She pitched well. Line drive left side. That's a base hit. The run scores to tie it at 3. Schultz advances to second base. We've got a 3-3 score on a 2-out RBI hit from Tori Williams. And now the go-ahead run for St. Xavier is on second base. And so, I mentioned a moment ago, Tucker wasn't all that concerned about the runner at first on the walk. Now she is concerned about that runner who's up to second. Here's Tori Kielman. Kielman takes ball 1 low. She's 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. Tucker's next pitch is taken downstairs for a ball, 2-0. Jensen Crenshaw comes out to talk with Madison Tucker, whose control had been pinpoint throughout her first 5+ innings of action today in both game 1 and now in game 2. But with 2 outs and a runner at third base, she's had some trouble finding the strike zone. She walked Schultz before falling behind Williams, who subsequently singled out to left field. And now it's 2-0 on Kielman. 7 of her last 10 pitches have been balls. Make it 8 out of 11 as it's now 3-0 on Kielman. So 8 of the 11 pitches have been balls, and 1 of the 3 strikes during that time frame was the RBI single from Tori Williams that tied it at 3. 3-0 pitch. Taken for a strike. Kielman thought she had first base. She dropped the bat, started walking down there, and what would have been ball 4, but called a strike. It's 3-1. Nicole O'Donnell waits on deck. Kielman, the 6th batter of the inning, takes ball 4. Second walk of the inning issued by Tucker, and the bases are loaded. St. Xavier's kept the pressure on throughout this entire game. They've got 10 hits in 6 1/3 inning, or 6 2/3 innings. And now they've walked 3 times. They've also been given 3 base runners on errors. So they've had 16 total base runners in the game, but have only scored 3 runs. There have been some bad base running decisions. They've also left 8 runners on base. And now they've got a chance to take the lead again. They've led most of the way. They were up 1-0 and then again 2-1. But trailed at 3-2 with 2 outs in this inning. Now it's 3-3. The bases are loaded for Nicole O'Donnell, who takes ball 1 high. Amanda Jensen came out to talk with Madison Tucker before this at bat. Tucker, who had great control all day, has suddenly lost it in a critical moment here in the 7th inning. She can't afford a 3rd walk here. She finds the zone on the second pitch to O'Donnell. It's 1-1. Robinson singled to lead off the inning. She made it to third base with 2 outs. Schultz walked. Williams picked up an RBI single. Kielman walked to load the bases. There's a swing and a miss. It's 1-2. One more strike, and we'll go to the bottom of the 7th. The Saints will have a chance to win the game with Length, Andrews, and Egan due up. Tucker readies herself atop the rubber. The 1-2 pitch. Bounces in. It's 2-2. Tucker still 1 strike away from getting out of the inning. 2-2 on O'Donnell. She bounces it right back to the pitcher. Tucker grabs it, throws over to first, and ends the inning. But a run scores for St. Xavier. It's the tying run. They leave the bases loaded, and we'll head to the bottom of the 7th. It'll either be a St. Francis win or extra innings coming up. Length, Andrews, and Egan due to hit in a 3-3 game. Bottom of the 7th inning, we're tied 3-3. St. Francis had a 3-2 lead with 2 outs in the top of the inning. St. Xavier was able to come back and tie it, but they were not able to take the lead, leaving the bases loaded in the top of the inning. Now Length, Andrews, and Egan will try to win the game for the Saints as Haley Length takes ball 1 outside. It's been a tough day for Allison Golick. 10-1 with a 1.3 ERA coming into play today. She has not had one of her better games. Over 130 pitches thrown. Length flies it out to right center field. It'll hang up long enough for Lyda Robinson to get there to make the grab. 1 away. 4 in a row now retired by Golick. That's a game high for her. She went 1-2-3 in the 6th. That was the first 1-2-3 inning of the game for either pitcher, or either team's pitchers, I should say. Saints have used 2. Here's Lindsay Andrews, 0 for 3 in the ball game. Andrews takes the first pitch strike. Saints scored 1 in the 4th and 2 in the 5th. Andrews takes a ball low. Count is 1-1. St. Xavier had 1 run in the 2nd, 1 in the 5th, and with their backs up against the wall, 1 in the 7th inning. Here's the 1-1. Popped up on the infield. O'Donnell, the third baseman, makes the catch. 2 away very quickly here in the 7th inning. And here's Paige Egan. Egan is 3 for 3 in the ball game. She's got nearly half of her team's hits, 3 of the 7. She scored a run back in the 5th inning. Corner infielders weigh in on Egan, who's got 2 bunt singles in the game. And she takes ball 1 from Golick. If Egan reaches, Luckett bats next. If not, we go to extra innings. Egan drops down a bunt, picked up by the catcher. Throw to first is in time. So this time the bunt does not work from Egan. 6 in a row retired by Golick to get St. Xavier into extra innings. It's 3-3. We'll move on to the 8th. Into extra innings for the 2nd time in the last 3 games for St. Francis. We're tied 3-3. DeMack, Lux, and Robinson due up against Madison Tucker, who's pitched an inning and 2/3 so far in relief. DeMack takes ball 1 low. DeMack was the first batter that Tucker faced when she came in back in the 6th inning with 2 runners on and 1 out. She struck her out. That's her only strikeout in this appearance so far. Only 2 strikeouts in the game for St. Francis pitchers. There's a 1 hopper over to second base, gloved by Andrews. Off balance throw to first is just in time. 1 away. Lexi Lux comes up with 1 out, nobody on. Lux is 1 for 3 with a single and a sacrifice bunt. Second time she's faced Tucker in this one. Tucker got her to ground out last time up. She misses down low for ball 1 here. St. Xavier's had a lot more opportunities to win this game than St. Francis has had. Cougars have left 11 runners on base through 7 innings. They left them loaded last inning. Ball low, 2-0. They've had 16 base runners in the game, but have only scored 3 runs. St. Francis has not had nearly as many opportunities as St. Xavier. They didn't have a runner in scoring position the first 4 innings. Fouled off to the left side, 2-1. St. Francis so far in the game has stranded 5 runners. The majority of them have been at first base. Whereas St. Xavier's left them in scoring position almost every inning of the game. Fly ball out to left field towards the line. Luckett can't get there. It drops in for a base hit. Just inside the line. Luckett gets it back to the infield quickly, and Lux is forced to hold at first base. It's a 1-out single. That brings up Lyda Robinson. Robinson's been on base 3 times. She's 2 for 4. 2 singles. She's reached on an error, and she scored the tying run with 2 outs in the 7th inning to force extra innings. Bunted foul by Robinson, strike 1. St. Francis played an extra innings just 3 days ago at Olivet Nazarene. They lost in 8, 12-9. 8 innings is the longest game they've played this year. They've done it twice. Both of them were losses. Swing and a miss. Count is 0-2. Saints took the opener of the doubleheader today, 8-5. They were up big. St. Xavier made a late run, came up a little bit short. Fouled off to the left side. Count remains 0-2. Amanda Ruskowski is on deck. Go ahead run at first base with 1 out. The 0-2 pitch from Tucker. Misses high, ball 1. Madison Tucker came in looking for her 2nd save of the season. She blew the save last inning. Still a chance to pick up her 2nd win of the day. She's able to hold St. Xavier down here. Fouled back, out of play. Still 1-2. In the bottom of the 8th inning, Luckett, Garcia, and Gallison are due up. They've all had some success in this game. Another 1-2 offering from Madison Tucker. Robinson grounds it to the shortstop. Gallison throws to second, and the ball is dropped at second base by Lindsay Andrews. Everybody is safe. Lux to second, Robinson safe at first. And the batter is Amanda Ruskowski. I think Lindsay Andrews took her eye off the ball. She was thinking about trying to turn 2. That really wasn't on the table because it was Lyda Robinson running down the first base line. Robinson could fly. So there was no way they were going to get 2 outs on the play. And Andrews just watched the ball all the way into her glove. We'd be looking at 2 outs and a runner at first right now. But her error makes it first and second, 1 down. Ruskowski takes ball 1 high. It's the 4th error of the game committed by St. Francis. It's the first one since the 3rd inning. They had 3 early errors. Ground ball foul to the left side, 1-1. The first run of the game against Hannah Vachon was unearned. Some of the mistakes in this game have really cost St. Francis. That early error in the 2nd inning allowed a run to score. They had a runner thrown out at home plate later in the game. Ground ball to second. Andrews flips it to Gallison for the force. Gallison back to first, and this time they do turn 2. 4-6-3 double play. The inning is over. A hit and error, but no runs, and 1 runner left on. We go to the bottom of the 8th. St. Francis will get their 2nd shot at winning it. 3-3 tie. Bottom of the 8th inning, a run for St. Francis wins them the game. They're tied with St. Xavier 3-3. But Allison Golick, the Cougars' ace, who had not been really on her game through the first 5 innings, has settled in. She's retired the last 6 batters in a row. Saints will try to break up that stretch here. Rachel Luckett is 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. Golick's first pitch to Luckett is strike 1. Luckett approached that one with a head start, looking to bunt her way on. Went through it for a first pitch strike. 140 pitches in the game for Allison Golick, but she's gotten better as it's gone on. Luckett, it's a hard grounder, but right at the first baseman. Taylor Sturkowitz grabs it, steps on the bag, 1 down. Good swing from Luckett, just unfortunate placement as Sturkowitz didn't have to move to pull it in. 1 up, 1 down in the 8th. Here's Kayla Garcia. Garcia's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. She's walked twice and scored a run, nearly scored another. She was thrown out at the plate on an Ashley Gallison double. Back in the 5th inning, Garcia takes ball 1. Golick struck her out on 3 pitches in the 1st inning, and since then really has not wanted anything to do with her. Garcia takes a ball outside, 2-0. Didn't even come close on any of the 4 pitches she saw in the 5th inning. That was her 2nd walk. And now it's 2-0. She's missed pretty far out of the zone on the first 2 pitches of this at-bat. Garcia takes a cut on 2-0, but she misses for a 2-1 count. Hot-hitting shortstop Ashley Gallison is on deck. Saints could use a base runner in front of her. Garcia swings through another one. It's 2-2. One out, nobody on in the 8th. Golick looking to put away Kayla Garcia for the 2nd out of the inning. Garcia fouls it back out of play. Still 2-2. Garcia reached base a couple of times in game 1. She went 1 for 3 with a double, a walk, and a couple of runs scored. So she's had a very productive doubleheader, but here she strikes out swinging. 6th strikeout of the game for Allison Golick. 2 down in the 8th inning. And the batter is Ashley Gallison. Gallison's the last batter to reach base for St. Francis. She came up in the 5th inning with the bases loaded, 2 outs, down by a run. She hit a 2-run double. Garcia was thrown out at the plate to end the inning on that same play. And Golick has not allowed a base runner the last 3 innings. Strike 1 called on Gallison. Gallison had a 14-pitch at-bat back in the 4th. She ended up lining out. So she decided not to wait around in her next at-bat. She doubled on the 2nd pitch. See if she jumps on one early here. She does, flying it out to deep left. It's into the gap and over the fence on a bounce. So that'll be an automatic double for Ashley Gallison, her 2nd double of the game. That's her 3rd double of the day and her 13th of the season. And now the winning run is in scoring position for Madison Tucker. Tucker's had an excellent day overall. In 2 games, she has pitched a total of 6 1/3 innings, or 6 2/3 innings rather, and only allowed 2 runs. And at the plate, she's got 4 hits and 2 RBIs. But she gave up the tying run in the 7th inning today in this game, and so she's trying to atone for that with the game-winning hit in the 8th. Tucker takes the first pitch for strike 1. Winning run in scoring position with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning. The count is 0-1. Golick against Tucker. There's a swing and a looper to the right side. It hangs up for the first baseman Sturkowitz to make the grab, and the inning is over. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. We go to the 9th, tied at 3. Top of the 9th inning, still tied 3-3. St. Xavier tied it up in the top of the 7th. Neither team's been able to score since, so it's our second extra inning now. As Taylor Sturkowitz leads things off against Madison Tucker and takes the first pitch strike. Approaching 7:30 now. The sun is nearly set. We've been playing softball for almost 4.5 hours. Game 2 of the doubleheader. There's ball 1 to even the count. Sturkowitz is 0 for 4. She has reached on an error once. The 1-1 pitch. Lined hard down the left field line. That's a foul ball. The count is 1-2. Madison Tucker is out there to pitch her third inning, her third full inning. She got the final 2 outs in the 6th as well, so she's gone 2 2/3 so far. She's allowed 1 run. It's been an unlikely pitcher's duel. Unlikely in a couple of ways. Partially because these are 2 of the best offenses in the league. Partially just because of the way it's played out. There's a bouncing ball to the right side of the infield, picked up by Andrews, who fires quickly to first for the out. Sturkowitz is 0 for 5, and the batter is Brittany Schultz. You wouldn't necessarily expect these 2 offenses to be held to just 6 combined runs through 8+ innings, but they've had no shortage of base runners, hits, walks, errors. For whatever reason, people have been on base all game. Ball 1 on Brittany Schultz. But neither team has done a great job of getting their runners in. St. Xavier has stranded 12 base runners through 8 innings. Ball low, 2-0 on Schultz. St. Francis hasn't been quite that bad. They've left 6 base runners on through 8 innings. Only 3 of the 6 have been in scoring position. Ball 3, it's 3-0 on Schultz. For St. Xavier, the majority of their runners left on have been in scoring position. 8 out of the 12 have been at either second or third. Called strike 1 on Schultz. That means that if St. Xavier just one time in any of those 7 innings got just 1 extra hit, this game would be long over. 3-1. Schultz swings and misses. It's 3-2. Schultz is 1 for 3 in the game with a single and a walk. Her walk came with 2 outs in the 7th inning. If Tucker had retired her, the game would have been over about a half hour ago. But she was able to work the walk and keep it going. Foul tipped. Schultz stays alive. Still 3-2. Schultz, a right-handed hitting catcher, stands into the box once again. Another 3-2 pitch coming from Madison Tucker. Swung on and drilled out to left field. That ball is caught by Luckett. Nice adjustment by Rachel Luckett. Initially looked like she might have overran that ball. She kind of twisted her body back to the right and was able to make a nice grab to retire Schultz despite a hard hit ball out to left. 2 outs. That brings up Tori Williams. Williams is the reason we're still here right now. Her RBI single with 2 outs in the 7th tied the score. Strike 1 called. St. Francis pitchers have not had a 1-2-3 inning in this game. This would be the first if Tucker gets Williams here. In fact, this is already the first inning in which any pitcher has retired the first 2 batters in a row. Ball low, 1-1. Tori Kielman's on deck. She'll bat if Tori Williams reaches base. If not, Callahan, Crenshaw, and Length, the bottom of the St. Francis order, is due up in the bottom of the 9th. Called strike 2. And Williams falls behind in the count. Sturkowitz grounded out. Schultz line to left. And now Tucker 1 strike away from that elusive perfect inning. Ball low on Williams, 2-2. Two outs, nobody on base. Tie game in the 9th. 2-2 pitch to Williams. Misses up high from Tucker. The count goes full. Williams trying to work her way on base. She would represent the go-ahead run for St. Xavier. St. Xavier's led twice in this game. Ground ball up the middle, ranging to her left. Gallison lets it between her legs. And Williams is aboard on St. Francis's 5th error of the game. So again, St. Xavier gets a runner on base. This time with 2 outs, she's at first. And Tori Kielman is the batter. Kielman's been on base 3 times, 2 for 3, couple of singles and a walk. She takes ball 1 low from Tucker. One-0 pitch. Grounded weakly to the third base side. Callahan picks it up, but it's in foul territory. And the count is even, 1-1. Eleven hits in the game for St. Xavier. St. Francis has committed 5 errors, and all 5 of those errors have allowed somebody to reach base. They haven't just been advancing bases. High fly hit out to right field. Paige Egan moves over, gets under it, and makes the catch. The inning is over. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left at first base. And as we head to the bottom of the 9th, still 3-3. St. Francis will send their 7, 8, and 9 batters up with their 3rd chance to win the ball game. Bottom of the 9th inning. St. Francis 3, St. Xavier 3. Danielle Callahan leads off the inning for the Fighting Saints. She swings the first pitch, pops it up, foul ground right side, and just out of the reach of the first baseman, Taylor Sturkowitz. Callahan has already popped out to first base twice in the game. She's also struck out. She's 0 for 3. In fact, the 7, 8, and 9 batters, Callahan, Crenshaw, and Lent, have gone a combined 0 for 9 against Allison Golick today. It's going to have to change. St. Xavier wants, or St. Francis wants to win this game in the 9th inning, and it does change as Callahan smacks one out to right field, a base hit. Lead-off single for Callahan. That brings up Jensen Crenshaw. Winning run is aboard for the Fighting Saints. St. Francis took game 1 8-5. St. Xavier trying to earn the split here. Fighting Saints trying to sweep. It would be their 2nd doubleheader sweep in their last 3 chances. They beat Cardinal Stritch 2 in a row last Wednesday. Crenshaw takes strike 1. Jensen Crenshaw is 0 for 3 with a ground out, a strikeout, and a flyout in the ball game. In game 1 earlier this afternoon, she went 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. Crenshaw takes the ball, and the count is even at 1. Haley Length is on deck. Crenshaw trying to advance the runner here. She shows bunt and bunts it foul back behind home plate. 1-2. Crenshaw did not square up on either of the first 2 pitches, but with a 1-1 count, tries to drop one down and can't put it in fair territory. Runner at first, nobody out. 1-2. Crenshaw swings and lifts it into shallow right center field. Long run coming in. Tori Williams can't make the play. Ball drops in behind her, and Callahan advances to second base. 2 on, nobody out for Haley Length. It's an error on Tori Williams, who had a long way to go for that ball, but got there and couldn't pull it in. Crenshaw is aboard for the first time in the game. Second error committed by St. Xavier. It's the 7th combined error of this game after we saw 0 in game 1. Two very different types of softball games. 8-5, St. Francis won the first one. A lot more offense, but a lot more defense as well. In this game, very good pitching. The defense has not been nearly as sharp. Here's Length. 0 for 3. She's hit the ball hard a couple of times, nothing to show for it. She may be up to bunt here. It's exactly what she's doing. Bunts it to first base. The throw goes to third, and the out is recorded at third base. Good play by Taylor Sturkowitz. Racing in from first base and getting the lead runner on the fielder's choice. Shortstop covering third base. Callahan is retired 3-6. Crenshaw advances to second base on the play. Length is safe at first, so the winning run is still in scoring position, but they couldn't get her over to third. Here's Lindsay Andrews. She's 0 for 4. Andrews swings to the first pitch, fouls it back behind home plate. Strike 1. Andrews homered in game 1. She had 2 RBIs in that one. Has not been able to reach base in this game. A base hit could end the game for St. Francis. It's a swing and a miss, strike 2. Paige Egan, who's got 3 hits in the game today, stands on deck. This is far and away St. Francis's best scoring chance since the 5th inning when they originally took the 3-2 lead. Andrews pops it up foul, back behind home plate, and again out of play. St. Xavier led this game twice. They were up 1-0 and then again 2-1. St. Francis's only lead was 3-2, but they carried that lead into the 7th inning, and with 2 outs in the top of the 7th, St. Xavier was able to tie the score. Another 0-2, another foul ball. We'll see another 0-2 pitch coming up here. Tie ball game 3-3. It's Crenshaw at second base. She represents the winning run. Length is at first. Her run doesn't mean a thing. Good to have her on, though. Andrews pops it up, shallow left. Backing up is the shortstop, Kielman, and she makes the grab, 2 down. That'll bring up Paige Egan. Allison Golick has not surrendered a run in the last 4 innings. She's well over 150 pitches for the game now. But she's gotten better and better. Facing some trouble here in the 9th, not entirely of her own making. Paige Egan takes ball 1. A single for Callahan was followed by an error on Tori Williams that allowed Crenshaw to reach base. They're at first and second. They were at first and second, nobody out. Now it's first and second, 2 outs as Egan pops it foul and out of play. 1-1. Egan's average coming into today was .488, so on paper you'd think she's the gal you want to have up here, but a good percentage of her hits are infield hits, and that wouldn't score the run from second base. Ball 2. Of course, you take an infield hit if you could get it here, keep the game alive for Rachel Luckett, who's on deck. A walk would do the same thing, and of course, if Egan can knock one into the outfield grass, Saints will probably win the game. She takes ball 3, 3-1 the count. Again, Luckett is the on-deck hitter. She's had a tough day at the plate today, but one of the best hitters on the team. Egan's still trying to win it right here, though. 3 balls, 1 strike. She swings and fouls it back. It's a full count. Golick almost never walks anybody. She's only issued 12 of them all season in 85 innings pitched. She's walked 2 today, but it was Kayla Garcia both times, and one of them seemed more or less intentional. 3-2. Egan grounds it to the shortstop. Picked up cleanly by Kielman. The throw to first is not in time. Egan legs out the infield single to load the bases, and the game continues. Rachel Luckett comes up with a chance to play the hero. 4th hit of the ball game for Egan. And again, just as I said, that's the way a lot of her hits come. She gets infield singles, and you're not going to complain about it. Didn't win the game, but it kept it alive. And now Luckett has a chance to win the game. Luckett is a .451 hitter with 23 RBIs for the season. She's 1 for 4 with a single in this game. She takes strike 1. 1 for 7 so far in the doubleheader. It's a rarity for her to struggle this much at the plate in one day. Good time right now to break out of it. The 0-1 pitch. Taken off the outside corner. It's 1-1. 3-3 tie in the bottom of the 9th. If Golick can retire Luckett, we'll be moving on to the 10th. If not, Saints will celebrate a win. Line drive out to left field, but it's foul. And Golick is 1 strike away from sending us into that 10th inning. The only runner on base that matters right now is Jensen Crenshaw at 3rd. The bases are loaded with 2 outs. And Luckett takes the ball. The only service the other 2 runners provide right now is giving St. Xavier a force at every base. But it also, with the bases loaded, means that a walk or a hit by pitch will win the game for St. Francis. 2-2 on Luckett. Here's Allison Golick's pitch. Ball 3. And now we're 1 ball away from ending the ball game here. Again, Golick has excellent control, almost never issues walks. Luckett can expect to see something to hit here on 3-2. The base is full and 2 outs in a tie game, bottom of the 9th. Luckett swings, grounds it to the shortstop. It's off the glove of Kielman, and everybody's safe, and the Saints win. She tried to backhand it. It hit off the heel of her glove. She couldn't make it cleanly, and once she wasn't able to pull it in the first time, no chance to get any outs. The second time she lunged for the ball, St. Francis is able to come away with the win as Luckett is able to drive in the game-winning run. 4-3, St. Francis wins Game 2 in extra innings for the doubleheader sweep. And kind of fitting in a sloppy defensive second game that it would end on a ball that hits off the glove of Kielman. Certainly not an easy play. It wasn't hit right to her, but a play that she needed to make in order to give St. Xavier any chance to win the game, and she couldn't quite do it. So Luckett picks up the game-ending RBI. A bases-loaded infield single with 2 outs in the 9th. St. Francis victorious 4-3. This was a long one. Longest game of the year played by St. Francis. They didn't lead for most of it, but they were able to get the lead when it mattered most. St. Francis was down 1-0, and again 2-1. They took the lead in the 5th inning for the first time and lost it in the 7th. Let's go back over all the scoring. The Cougars of St. Xavier scored 1 in the 2nd when Brittany Schultz singled, and then scored with 2 outs when Nicole O'Donnell hit a deep fly ball to center field that was dropped by Haley Length. That made it 1-0 in favor of St. Xavier. Saints tied it up in the 4th inning on an RBI double from Madison Tucker. It was 2-1 St. Xavier after they jumped right back on the scoreboard in the 5th. Amanda Ruskowski picked up an RBI single. But then in the bottom of the 5th, St. Francis took the lead that for a moment looked like it would win them the game. Paige Egan singled, Rachel Luckett singled, and Ashley Gallison doubled them both home to make it 3-2. St. Xavier, with 2 outs in the top of the 7th inning, was able to keep the game alive. They had a runner at third base, 2 down. Brittany Schultz walked to keep the inning alive, and then Tori Williams singled to score Lyda Robinson and make it 3-3, and that remained the score all the way into the bottom of the 9th when the inning began for St. Francis with a Danielle Callahan single. Jensen Crenshaw reached on an error, and Paige Egan came up with an infield single to load the bases with 2 outs. That brought up Rachel Luckett, who worked the count full before hitting a hard grounder to the left side of the infield. The shortstop, Tori Kielman, tried to make a backhanded stop. It hit off the heel of her glove. Everybody was safe. An infield single for Rachel Luckett was the ender as Jensen Crenshaw came in to score the game-winning run and give St. Francis the victory. Final total, St. Xavier 3 runs, 11 hits, 2 errors. St. Francis 4 runs, 11 hits, 5 errors. Winning pitcher is Madison Tucker. She wins 2 today. She's now 4-4 on the season. Losing pitcher in a complete game effort, Allison Golick, falls to 10-2. With the doubleheader win, St. Francis now 17-9 overall, 7-5 in conference. St. Xavier falls to 21-5 overall and 10-4 in conference. Next one up for the Fighting Saints is coming up tomorrow, a 5 o'clock p.m. doubleheader here in Joliet as they play their 3rd home doubleheader of the season. Again, it's a 5 o'clock start time tomorrow night as they're able to continue a 4-game homestand and try to make it 4 consecutive wins. Again, the final scores today, 8-5 game 1, 4-3 game 2. Saints win them both. That's going to do it for our broadcast from the Harlow Lockwood Fields here in Joliet. Until next time, it's Terry Bonadonna signing off for the University of St. Francis. Good night.